For those of you who are somehow unaware of the news that we've heard about the last several days, especially Amazon and Target have executed sizable layoffs yesterday. Chain Store Age reported that Amazon eliminated approximately 14,000 of its roughly 350,000 person corporate workforce, the largest workforce reduction in Amazon company history, and in an effort to, quote, operate like the world's largest startup, end quote. Meanwhile, Target has also said that it planned to cut 1,800 roles across the company, or roughly 8% of its corporate workforce, citing, according to incoming CEO Michael Fidelki, quote, too many layers and overlapping work, slowing decisions, making it harder to bring ideas to life, end quote. Chris, what words of wisdom do you have in the wake of all of this layoff news?
Wow. Well, it's hard to know where to start. I mean, first of all, I want to express my sympathy for anyone that was impacted, and
Mhm.
pretty much anyone at these companies too. I think you have to think about it in that way too. And the one thing I always think about, because I went through this in 2015, the last time Target had a really big layoff, and my boss at the time said, for a lot of these people, for a lot of the workers, at Target particularly, and I think this is true of any company, particularly if you work in a regional city like we do in Minneapolis, a
Hmm.
lot of times it's like being asked to leave your church. And so it can be very hard and very trying for a lot of people. So my heart goes out to them. When I step back from it and try to make sense of it all, I think it brings up a lot of questions for me. Is it coincidental that these announcements happen on the same day? Yeah, probably. But could it be a sign that there's more to come throughout the industry, especially as you look at macroeconomics and the AI factors that are at play? Yeah, potentially. I think that's the real reality here. And then the other point I'd bring up is, it makes me look at, how are these announcements communicated? And, it's two very different approaches. Amazon being very transparent and saying AI is a factor. Not having worked there, I can't really comment on what that, means for the culture there, or, how their employees are going to take it. But, I look at that in contrast to what, Target CEO said and what you did. And the big question I have there is just, how can you come out and say that when you were the CFO and the COO who was in charge of basically financing and greenlighting that organizational structure throughout the organization, and yet you and the former CEO are still around and still leading the company? So that just doesn't ring true to me very well, and I wonder if the culture honestly can ever recover from that when you get down to it. But I don't know. I hope he takes feedback well, and I hope he brings in some people then that can help him to rejuvenate the culture and can get the spirit of Target alive again. But I think it's gonna be a tough road ahead for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I would say is please reach out.
Yes.
Target, Amazon, people, we are so fortunate, one, in being able to show you that there's life after the corporate jobs, which I think you're hearing a lot right now, probably. But this could really be the launch pad to something entirely new, and Amitak Retail is 100% an example of that. But also, we've built this network, and I'm so ready and here and willing to help however we can. Write a recommendation. We've been fortunate to get to know so many of you. So, number one, that offer stands as long as you need it. So please reach out. Um, the second thing that I'll say, Chris, I think in response to what you said is that I, you know, I think that the real issue is likely that, companies are still structured and roles still exist based on pre-AI days. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know that we've seen a layoff like this
Yeah.
in a long time, and it's kind of to me reminiscent of when e-commerce first came online. However, in the e-commerce days, that was like starting entirely new groups, or kind of spreading
New
people
companies.
across.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that what we're really seeing, and unfortunately, is a reality of AI being so much a core component of how businesses are operating more efficiently. We're gonna see layoffs because the ability for automation to replace some jobs that humans were doing. My hope is that we do start to see opportunities come from this too. But it will require that, some of us pick up and learn new things, or take on take on new types of roles. But the I think the most important thing for all those listening who are affected by these layoffs is that you still very much have core skills that you've developed that will help you hopefully be agile and learn how to work with big major retailers like Target and Amazon, and that there still will be a place for you. But I think that to me is the biggest tell is that we have to restructure our businesses to include AI as a part of the workforce, and hopefully things unfold that open up new opportunities for people.
Yeah, well said, well said. Yes, and for everyone listening, yes, please reach out to Ann. Please reach out to me. We're here to help. That's partly why we started Omni Talk was to help people stay informed of how the industry was changing, and that so we could be a help, in that regard. And my number one piece of advice, Ann, too, whenever I meet with folks in this situation, and you and I've met with both of them a lot over the years, is like, make your next move where you're trying to move water, you're going with the flow of water, don't try to go to a company where you're moving, water uphill anymore. That's always a tricky thing. So I think, as people are looking at what's next, that's a key litmus test, I know, for you and for I.